Yes. By way of introducing you to business cycle, though it is coming under macroeconomics, you know why I started it today? The reason is earlier we had only one macro topic, which is only business cycle or inflation. After this will be only BCK. Okay, so this would get concluded here, and the next segment would be business and commercial knowledge. Can you follow? But now you don't have business and communication knowledge, commercial knowledge. Instead, you have macro. From tomorrow, we start macro, isn't it? So now what I'm going to do for you is this. Please look at it. Business cycle, you just see these two main slides, and after that, I'll show you the notes. Okay, two main slides. One is business cycle is a wave-like movement, and the four phases, stages or segments are important, starting from expansion and peak or boom or prosperity, contraction or trough or depression. Can I help you?
Difference between expansion and prosperity, peak.
So this is like going up, expanding, reviving, expanding from a point to another point.
Boom and expansion is the same.
No. In your how it is given in the book, worded, no, I'm telling you that. Expansion is escalating from a lower point to a higher point. Boom is like it's booming, it's a high, peak or prosperity, or see, these terms are used in a different connotation or a denotation, but generally if you take trade cycle, depression or trough, then from there recovery, okay, then peak or boom, then you will have recession, isn't it? That is how the order is. They have, since I have given these words, I am giving you that. These are textbook words for you. Okay, so expansion is like your revival, expanding from a lower point to a higher point. Remember revival. Peak or boom or prosperity given in one understanding. Contraction is like downswing or recession. Trough or depression, one and the same. This is where you have confusion. In many books it's worded differently, but we are going to stick to parent source. That's why I'm going to show you the parent source. In front of you, I'm going to show it highlighted one. Okay, so the phases of business cycle, wave-like movement, ups and downs. It is a macro concept, that which denotes economic fluctuations, not fluctuation pertaining to one particular business or trade. And business cycle is also known as trade cycle. This much are you clear? Yes, this much are you clear? Okay, now look at this technical segment, because after this only I'm going to show you notes. Three important indicators are there. Leading indicating that the economy is going to step into trough. Economy is going to step into recession or revival. Those indicators are classified as leading indicators, lagging indicators, coincident or concurrent indicators. What is a leading indicator? This indicator will indicate that the economy is going to start its recession or revival even before the economy steps in. The indicators will tell you that this is the phase of trade cycle which is going to start now. So what is the definition here? Leading indicators, what do they measure? They show certain economic factors that changes even before the economy is going to step into a particular phase, indicating the onset of the phase immediately, very soon. That is called as leading indicator. What is lagging indicator? The economy has already stepped into it. It has started. Depression has just set in, or recession has just set in, revival has just set in. After that, the indicator tells you that. The indicator says. Okay, indicator means economic variables. Concurrent is simultaneously happening. The economy steps in, indicators also show. Are you clear? And examples. Look at this. For leading indicator, changes in the stock prices, interest rates, housing sector variables. And housing sector will also come in, I have not given, it will also actually come in coincident, but okay. Lagging indicators are unemployment, consumer price index, corporate profits. Coincident indicators are GDP, inflation, industrial production. Are you clear? Leading, lagging, coincident or concurrent. Are you clear? Now let's Let me show your parent source so that you will, yes, can I? For revision, I made it as for revision itself. Please look at this very, very clearly because I also have notes done for you in this. This is the notes prepared for you, very short and crispy notes. Key points which I want to go through. And anyways, always parent source, people do consult for macro. This is this. Now look at this, my dear students, quickly understand what is important for me or what is that your parent source tells you is meaning of the term business cycle, the phases. See, they are using the word expansion, peak, contraction, trough. They are using it as this spelling. Okay. What are the features? Main features. Causes of trade cycle are defined as internal and external. What is the relevance of this trade cycle in business decision making? Synopsis. No, don't you find it as a synopsis? Yes. Now consider this. Come. Two important examples where unprecedented rise in the stock market happened in 1920s. China's slowdown, recent slowdown. All these are what? Examples of business cycle affecting a nation as a whole. Two examples we begin with. Now phases of business cycle, please look at it. Your parent source a definition. Expansion, peak, boom or prosperity, they also bring in this. Contraction, downswing or recession, trough or depression. Is that clear? Okay, and now look at the chart they have given. Okay, so now can we learn the points very quickly? What is expansion? Please remember, increase in major economic variables. I have highlighted the word increase. Let it be output, employment, demand, expenditure, whatever it is, increase. Second, this will continue how long? Till full employment happens, this will continue. And here, in this stage, involuntary unemployment is 0. You know what is involuntary? Voluntary, I can be lethargic. When I want to do job, I will get job. So involuntary unemployment is 0. In which stage they'll ask? I'm showing you how the questions are asked. Involuntary unemployment will be 0 in what? Expansion, because everything is going up. Opportunities are there. When I want to work, I get a job. Key point. Okay. Now increasing prosperity. Everything is at a high level. Business confidence, production, factor incomes, profits, all are at the peak level. Now the term peak refers to the highest point of the business cycle. Top or the highest point. Top or the highest point. Okay. And here in the later stages of expansion, inputs are difficult to find as there is a shortage of demand, because input prices are also escalating, no? So it will happen. Output prices are also increasing. There is a strain on the fixed income earners, isn't it? Fixed income earners, what they'll do? The monthly salary is fixed. Output prices are going up. What will they do? When input prices are going up, output prices naturally will go up. Already pressure of demand also. So there will be this will be the end of expansion. So how we are studying is what is that point peak, highest point. Okay. And slowly in the later stages, as I am expanding, what is happening is, how it happens is, when everything goes up, there is a constraint on the people, buying capacity of the people. Okay. And that somehow will bring the actual demand to a stagnating point, and that is where the end of expansion. Do you see this expansion phase? Do you understand it? Can you follow? Contraction, fall. The economy cannot grow continuously, so there is a fall. What is mainly falling? Investment and employment. So the trickle down effect will happen. Producers will not be able to recognize instantly. That's a feature. Producer is not able to do. So mismatch between demand and supply. Supply far exceeds the demand because producer was not able to recognize. Okay, so mismatch happens. What is a mismatch? Supply exceeds the demand. When this happens, what will happen? There will be a slow pace as such. So producers will now become aware. They will hold back the future investment. They will start holding back once they come to recognize chain of reactions happen, and here there will be cancelling of orders, curtailing of orders. This is the turning point and beginning of recession. Do you understand where recession begins? Slowly? Okay. Now what do the producers do? Producers lower their prices. Okay, so consumer reduce spending. All this becomes further and further declines. So there's a fall in the profit expectation. Everything is reduced. Bank credit will come down. So this process of recession slowly pushes the economy into depression. Process of recession puts the economy into the depression level. Then comes trough and depression. Severe form of recession. Repeated question in the exam. Dash is a severe form of recession is depression. Okay. And here you will have negative growth rate. Here negative growth rate. Okay. And national income expenditure decline. Demand for goods, services, everything. Shutdown happens. Shutdown happens. Mounting unemployment. Very little disposable income. Consequences of a depression, right? So interest rate, all economic variables will have a severe setback. At the depth of depression, all economic activities touch the bottom. Trough is reached. Can you understand? Most agonizing period, and till today 1930s depression is cited as an example. Cited as till today. Recovery. What is your recovery about? Slowly you can't, totally can't keep contracting. No, you have to start reviving the economy, then revival starts. Okay, so trough lasts for some time, and that marks the end of pessimism and slowly beginning of optimism. Process of reversal is happening. It is felt in the labor market because extensive unemployment. Now workers are ready to work at very low wage rate also. Slowly everything is costing very less. So better business environment, business confidence is there. Slowly you have a revival. Spurring of investment happens. This leads to recovery. This acts as a turning point from depression to expansion. Do you see the main points given here? So slowly all this will happen. Okay. And this is how you have to understand, but it's very difficult to predict the turning points of business cycles. This is where your indicators are important. We saw, no, the three indicators in a very crisp manner I've given in the slide. So that is what is given here in a blah blah manner. Okay. Now examples of business cycles, latest examples apart from 1930s, the information technology bubble of 2000. Anybody and everybody will know, isn't it? The bubble.com, where there was a spurt everywhere, internet companies. That is where BPOs and call centers came flourishing, and IT sector is shining. Anybody and everybody can get jobs in call centers, medical transcription, all this came about, right? That bubble happened. So that is what is given as an example. And current example also, which we saw in macro also, is the world economic crisis, housing sector default, euro crisis. They are also giving as an example of economic crisis apart from Great Depression of 1990s. So that is already done what we did here. And coming to the features of business cycle. Okay, what are the features? It occurs periodically. It is not constant. It's a wave-like movement, up down, up down, up down. Okay, they have distinct phases. Expansion, peak, contraction, and trough. And as per your parents' shows, expansion is like your revival, going up, and contraction is recession, leading to trough. So expansion to eventually lead to peak, and contraction should eventually lead to trough, but we don't allow this to happen. We cannot allow this to happen always, right? And business cycle originate in free market economies, we all know, isn't it? So where market forces will be in full swing. However, please remember, business cycle is an inevitable phenomena of any system of economy, right? It is there. And here, now one important question is, all the sectors are adversely affected, but some sectors are disproportionately affected. One is a capital goods industry, the other one is a durable consumer good industry. They are disproportionately affected. If you see that, some sectors you will find that suddenly they are set into bigger trouble because producers and consumers, they are unable to bear the price constraints. That is an indication here. And compared to agriculture sector, industries are prone to the adverse effects of business cycle compared to agriculture industrial sector, because agriculture sector is informal. Unemployment in industrial sector only you can see the indicator. It's an informal, no kind of payment is there. Payment in kind is there, no, in agriculture sector still. Informal sector it is, informal employment is there, disguised unemployment is there. So that is a very different operation. And business cycles are extremely complex. We are not able to understand it at all, very difficult. And you can see the impact of business cycle through economic variables only. And they are contagious. Contagious effect means what? What is there in one country will have to go to other country also. Okay. And then causes of business cycle, external and internal. Okay, both are causes. So internal causes are within the economic system, and this is beyond, like war, post-war reconstruction, technology shock, natural factors and population growth are external. They cannot bound by policies, they are disrupted, suddenly it will happen. But internal causes are fluctuations in economic in effective demand, fluctuations in investment, variations in government spending, macro policies, money supply, including psychological factors. You can at least understand them, regulate them. They are within kind of manageable thing. These are sudden, unexpected shocks. Also they call that. Okay, so that is what. So you don't have to go to blah blahs, except what the blah blah you want to know is name of the economist. See, because even in my notes, I'm not doing that Ramayana for you, because you people are not meant for Ramayana at all. What I can understand is, see, features given very clearly, and look at the causes. Internal is endogenous, external is exogenous, give the list. That's all. But here, what is important is the name of the economist. That will be an MCQ. According to Keynes, fluctuations in economic activities are due to fluctuations in aggregate effective demand, because effective demand is a Keynesian concept. He says effective demand is a point where aggregate demand function is identical to aggregate supply function. I have told you that when we did fiscal policy. Right. Okay, according to Keynes. Then look at, according to some economists, fluctuations in investments are responsible for business cycles. That is why we bring in internal factors and external factors. This is a cause. Okay, according to some economists, names are not given. One more economist name will be there. All this you can. According to Hawtrey, name of an economist, monetary economist actually. Trade cycle is purely a monetary phenomenon. It is because of the upheavals in financial transactions in monetary sector. According to Hawtrey, trade cycle is purely a monetary phenomenon. You can expect this also. He is a important contributor. According to Pigot, modern business activities are based on anticipations of the business community and are affected by waves of optimism and pessimism. When you have the terms optimism and pessimism, remember it is Pigot. When you have a Hawtrey, please remember monetary phenomenon. When you have Keynes, it is effective demand. And what about some other economists? What do some other economists implied? What was the implication given by some other economists? Fluctuations in investment can cause trade cycle. They are attributing to internal costs. Okay, is that clear? Then, in fact, Pigot is bringing anticipation, optimism, pessimism. That is where we get psychological factors. Schumpeter's innovation theory. Trade cycle occur as a result of innovation. Sudden spurt. Okay. Cobweb theory given by Nicholas Calder. All these names are important for MCQs. Nicholas Calder has told Calder's theory of trade cycle. We study in monetary economy, Hawtrey's Calder's theory we study. He says that the business cycle result from the present price substantially influencing the production at some future date. Existing price influencing the future options. Who says that? Nicholas Calder. Schumpeter attributes it to innovation. Okay. And then comes the external causes, war and post-war, technological shocks which happen, natural factors, population, etc. And relevance of business cycle in business decision making. They particularly are very important to know the demand for the products and profits. And when you have to make a managerial decisions, definitely the swing upward and downward swing are very important. When you have to go to certain business, you have to know the rate of economic growth, particularly fashion, electrical goods, restaurants, whether upward or downward. In depression stage, who will go for restaurants and all? And buying the basic needs are difficult. So that's why it's important. To overcome this effects of economic downs, business, whether I can launch a product now, whether it is important for me to do some innovation now, it is very important. And economic focus helps the firm to prepare for the changes in consistency with the direction of the economy is growing. This, if economy is at boom, I will be doing prosperous business. If economy is slump, I will also curtail my activities responding to economic changes. Is that clear? Now here, as revision tip, I will tell you, along with this, what you have to study very, very clearly is, please note, names of the experts. What do they say? And the phases explained. It is using different terms have been used. We are going to strictly confine to parent source usage. Okay, apart from indicators, phases, indicators, names of the experts. And internal and external causes, you can just, I'm not asking you to read by heart that segment. The causes listing out is important. And relevance is like a story type, it's not a technical segment. So names of the experts is a technical segment, phases is a technical segment, indicators is a technical segment. Are you getting it? You want to do 5 minutes quiz exercise on this? Are you ready for it? Now that I have freeze, I can do it. Isn't it freeze model? Taught by whom? Who has taught it? Where is that? Okay, freeze. Let me see now whether whether you have grasped something I want to say. Yeah, please. Now, regarding phases of business cycle, as per your parent source, they have used the term boom in expansion and boom in peak. Now you can take down the question which I am going to give you so that you can write the answer quickly. Question 1. Rise in the stock market values. Rise in stock market values. Okay. Comes under expansion, contraction, trough. Rise in stock prices comes under expansion, contraction, trough. None of the given. Okay. Recent economic slowdown took place in which country? You are going to write the name. Okay. Contraction denotes downswing, recession, both A and B, trough. Both A and B, trough. That is question number 3. Okay. Question number 4. Involuntary unemployment is 0 in which phase? Please use the phases as given in the parent institute. Expansion, peak, contraction, trough. Involuntary unemployment is zero. We saw almost zero when we were discussing in which phase. Question number 4. Only 10 questions I'm going to. Okay. The highest point of the business cycle is known as. Use the same options. Yes. 5th question. Highest point of the business cycle is known as. What are the same options you are going to keep? Parent institute options. Expansion, peak, contraction and trough. So what is the 5th question I told you? Highest point of the business cycle denotes. Tick mark the correct option. Okay. Then.
Options: expansion, peak, contraction.
Trough. Okay. Dash do not instantaneously recognize the pulse of the economy. I will give you the options. Okay. Dash do not instantaneously recognize the pulse of the economy. The options are consumers, write it as general consumers, fixed income groups, producers, none of the given. Question 7. Dash is a severe form of recession. You can use the same options. Dash is a severe form of recession. Eighth question. During depression, growth rate will be declining. Growth rate will be zero. Growth rate will become negative. Growth rate will be declining at an increasing rate. You have to choose option. Declining, options are declining. Growth rate is declining. Growth rate becomes zero. Growth rate is negative. Growth rate will be declining at an increasing rate. 8th question. 2 more questions I will ask you. Okay. GDP is an example of which indicator? Question 9. GDP. We are asking the 9th question, isn't it? GDP is an indicator of which we saw leading, lagging and coincident. Okay, which indicator you have to tell. Last question. Information technology bubble took place in the year. You give the answer. 10 questions, try to answer. Any question you don't know which question you want? All 10 questions are collected. At least you can study these 10 points in the class itself, having come to the class. 10 main questions. Done? And causes and all, don't waste too much of time, because remember, it's not one topic you have to, it's a bulk. That is why I told you what is important here. Indicators, very important. Any data like name of the country, year, that is why that kind of question. Third is name of the economist, which is always a pertinent question. Being macro also, remember it is macro segment. And the other one is phases of business cycle, because usage of terms and other things are there, right? So don't waste time on too much of reading about relevance of business cycle. We know, understand that, one reading is more than sufficient. Okay. Yes. Now I am going to reveal the answer. Question number 1. So the rise in the stock market values, under what phase did you give? What was your answer? Expansion. Have you written expansion? Yes, tick mark that. Perfect. Second, where was a recent economic slowdown? Name of the country which we saw. It is China. How many of you wrote China? Good, good, good. Then, question number 3. Yes. So, contraction is also known as recession. Both A and B. Perfect. Okay. Next one. Question number 4. Involuntary unemployment is almost zero. Where? Expansion. Answer is expansion. Okay? Right. Perfect. Fifth one. The highest point of the business cycle is called as peak. Correct. Fifth one. Sixth important point. Yes. Dash do not instantaneously recognize. I have given you general consumers, fixed income groups, producers, none of the given. What did you choose? Producers. Producers do not instantaneously recognize. That's why I said There will be imbalance in the economy. Supply will exceed the demand. Can you understand? This happens in the contraction phase. Supply will exceed the demand because producers have not noticed falling trend. Okay, that is very important. Question number 6. Question number 7. Dash is a severe form of recession. Trough or depression. As per your thing, yes. What happens to the rate of growth when it is trough or depression? Declining, zero, negative, declining at an increasing rate. What did you choose? During trough or depression, what happens to growth rate? Yes. Negative. Negative. Repeated question. Take care, okay? This is the 8th. Then 9th question. Okay. GDP is an indicator of which? Coincident. Correct. Concurrent or coincident. Both. So, information technology bubble of the year 2000. IT bubble. Yes. With this, we have done business cycle and a small exercise. So at last we are done for the day. We have done whatever we wanted to complete. We have completed, and the credit goes to you. Thank you so much to have stayed back and think. Now that today's session is over, tomorrow ensure to come and learn in the class if you have not. And the tomorrow's plan is I will send you the topics. If you want, I can show it to you now, but it's too much. You take some rest. I will show you 7 topics for tomorrow, 7 topics for day after. That will be the macro coverage, and macro will be like what document is prepared. Questions are there, okay, with options, without options, fill ups, everything true or false. So as you do the exercise, you're also learning that in the class itself. If it is even 150 to 200 questions, more than enough, no, is sufficient. So try to attend, and probably I'm thinking that as I'm doing that exercise also, a small keynote of the topic, 1 or 2 sentences I will highlight to you so that you will focus that and prepare. Anyway, macro is a bigger frame, so that is what it is. Okay. So thank you so much, students. We have completed microeconomics. Tap yourself or, appreciate yourself and do whatever you want. Right. Thank you so much. And tomorrow we will meet with the topics coming under macro segment. Okay. Thank you so much.